Hello everybody, and welcome to my channel. It's been a while. I think I've posted 2 weeks ago. I hope you're not mad, but today we do books if books were rated by books. And let's get right into it, I guess. Okay, so let's do it. I have curated all the books right here, and I have them spread out right here. The first book we have that is judging the other books is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I think that if A Good Girl's Guide to Murder was a person, probably more specifically Andy Bell, she would actually love Kane's Jawbone. So, you know, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is a YA mystery where a girl solves a murder that has already been solved, but she doesn't believe it. And Kane's Jawbone is, well, basically an impossible puzzle or mystery where you have 100 pages and you have to get them in the right order, and only like 3 or 4 people have mastered this mystery. It's also like a murder mystery with 6 murders, and yeah, you basically have to find out in which way the pages go, and I think Annie Bell would have a blast with this book. I also think she would give 5 stars to Confessions, which is a book about a teacher whose kid has been murdered, and it has something to do with her students, and we also kind of find out as we go what happened and what the teacher did about it. Yeah. But now, what would A Good Girl's Guide to Murder absolutely hate and only give 1 star? This was quite a hard one, but I think because Andy, is very much like factual based, and she loves like finding clues and everything about like real life and solving real life mysteries that are solvable. She probably wouldn't be the biggest fan of fantasies, especially I think like kids fantasies. So I chose Narnia as a 1-star rating. Just because it's like about children, it's very slow even though it's short, and you don't really have a mystery, do you? And also, it couldn't happen in real life, so I don't think Andy would be fond of Narnia. The next book we have is The Hunger Games, which this is the first book. More specifically Katniss, because I feel like she is the driving force of the Hunger Games. Oh, let's do a fun one and start with her 1-star ratings, because I thought that would be easier, because Katniss, she hates a lot of things, so it was easier to find books she wouldn't like. The first book would be Gossip Girl. I don't think that Katniss would be very fond of the books, because it's about rich kids and their very much stupid problems, for Katniss at least. Because, yeah, well, Katniss doesn't have any money, she doesn't have any food, she has to fight for herself, and yeah, I don't know, it's just, you know, very much superficial and very much like the capital. It's portraying basically the capital, and that's everything that Katniss hates. And we have another book. It's If We Were Villains, because, well, in If We Were Villains, it's about a guy or like a group, and they are theater students or drama students, and one of them dies, and basically it could have only been one of them who killed him, and our protagonist doesn't know what happened, and we also don't know if we can trust him or anybody really. And well, I don't think he is rich, but there are quite a few rich people, and I feel like Katniss would hate how, well, they treat life and death in a way that is so nonchalant, and somebody just killed somebody, and it's like I don't know. It's like, I don't think Katniss would really like this, especially because it's also like they are so weird and you can just tell that they're rich because they talk in Shakespeare. A book that Katniss would probably give 5 stars. I think it could be a book like Little Women because it's about family. And I think that the most important thing and everything that that Katniss strived for, or all her decisions were based on, was her family and family dynamics. And I think this book could, well, suit her pretty well, her reading taste. Yeah, that's that. It's about like sisters, and I think that this one could be her book because I don't think that Katniss is a very like romantic reader and also not fantasy reader, because she is like very much down to earth and also is very factual and thinks about real life, and she doesn't really give a fuck about romance, which also her books aren't about. So I don't think, I think this one would be good if the Hunger Games rated this book, if that makes sense. I don't know if anything what I just said makes sense. Oh, then we have one of my all-time favorites, ACOTAR Thorns and Roses. I would say she would actually, this one is a kind of a tricky one because she would either really love or hate this book, but I think she would quite enjoy it. The Hunger Games. We're back with Katniss, but it's quite, I actually don't know if it is a little bit based on the book, because I feel like a lot of those fantasy books where the girl is hunting in the woods, which Farah did, right, are loosely based off the Hunger Games. I know this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but still, because I feel like after the Hunger Games, every single female main protagonist in every single fantasy book was, hunting and trying to provide for her family through hunting animals. So yeah, they both have a pretty similar life, even if this is fantasy and this, well, is a dystopian, but it's still like based in real life phenomenons. I think Farah would like bond with Katniss, and I think this would be a hard read for her because she would probably bawl her eyes out because she would feel like that's like been there, done that, right? But I think she would give it 5 stars in the end. But I also like, I have pretty diverse stuff for Farah. I think she would also enjoy The Summer of Broken Rules, which is a summer romance where a girl drives to like a summer destination where her family usually always meets for family stuff, family gatherings. Then there's a wedding, and then she meets this guy. I think it's the brother of the groom. And they play a fun game where they actually shoot each other, but with water guns. And yeah, I think it's just a very cute romance, but also the family aspect, and I quite liked it. I quite like that we get to know everybody, and I think that would be the selling point for Farah as well, because it's like, in ACOTAR, we also have the dynamic between everybody, and I think that she would like The Summer of Broken Rules for that. And I also gave her The Deal because I think Farah would be a little bit of a smutty hockey romance reader. Take with that what you want. The Deal is a smutty hockey romance, and if you haven't read it, you have to, because it's my favorite romance book, I think. So yeah. Okay, what would ACOTAR hate? I think that ACOTAR or Farah would definitely hate ACOTAR 1, this book, because she would only learn how to read in the second book. So she would, if she would have to reread the first book, I think she would literally throw up and gag. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. I haven't really found anything else. If you have something else, you can let me know down below. But yeah. The next book we have is Silver Flames, also in the ACOTAR verse, but this focused on Nesta. So I would say that Nesta is a very spicy reader, and I think that Nesta loves mafia romance. So I would say that Nesta and Silver Flames would give The Sweetest Oblivion 5 stars, because it's a mafia romance. It's literally just that. I don't know how to describe it differently, but it's toxic mafia romance with people dying because they did something wrong to that girl. And I think Nesta would eat that shit up. And I also would say King of Battle and Blood, which is a vampire romance that basically reads like a mafia romance, and yeah, I think that would be Nesta's shit. What she would hate is the selection, because girls dress up to get with the prince and become royalty, and you know that Nesta hates royalty. She hates people who are in power. She hates kings, queens, whatever. She despises those people, and yeah, she doesn't like that kind of power. I think she would hate that shit, like basically a dating show but with royalty. I think that's everything Nesta despises. And I also think that Nesta would really hate Spare by Prince Harry, because as well, again, it's about royalty, it's about a prince. I feel like Harry is very entitled and he doesn't really know that, and he doesn't really see it as that, because he portrays his problems in a very like dramatic way, right? His first world problems are super dramatized and whatever, and I think Nesta would hate that shit. Okay, so next we have Carrie Soto is back. Would probably love, now we return back to another book, Silver Flames, because I think Nesta and Carrie are pretty similar, though I once said that I'm very similar to Carrie Soto because I'm very competitive and I don't like Nesta. But I think they're different in their own ways, but I think that they would actually get along quite well. And yeah, I think that she would just like the character of Nesta, Carrie Soto that is. I think like a good fantasy romance, romantasy would be the right kind of vibe for Carrie, and I don't know why, because I don't think she would like to read actually like hardcore romance or sports stuff, because she really hates a lot of people who do sports athletes, and I don't know what else to give her. And then what Carrie Soto would definitely hate is Twilight. I don't even have to describe it to you. If you read this book and you know Twilight, you know why Carrie would hate Twilight. Okay, now coming to the last book, which is Once Upon a Broken Heart, and this time I took the man, so I would say Jax more specifically in the book. He would definitely, I think, like Pride and Prejudice. I think Jax would be a sucker for a good romance where they actually like get the girl in the end. And well, Darcy is very much not a gentleman in the beginning, which kind of, you know, correlates with Jack's behavior. But he still gets the girl in the end, which, spoiler alert, but you know, he marries her, he falls in love with her, he realizes, and it's like true love, right? So, and it's the OG true love book, so I think Jax would eat that up. He would love it, and maybe even shed a tear. I don't know. Because you know, he seeks for that true love. That's all he wants, and I think he would like that book. And also, I had to take this book in. I don't know if you would actually give it 5 stars, but Comfort Me with Apples, which is basically a weird thriller kind of vibe, but it's more weird and mystery. It's about well, a kind of weird retelling, or not retelling, but like kind of vibe of When Eve Ate the Apple. But yeah, I don't know how to describe it. You have to read it to find out, but I just thought, because you know, he eats apples, that would be a fun little thing to throw in. And then we're coming to the last book that I think Jax would hate. The Fault in Our Stars. And I think mainly because he would be so upset that about the ending. I'm not going to tell you, even though I think everybody who read it by now knows what it's about, and everybody who didn't won't read it anymore, but still. Well, it doesn't end quite well, and I think that Jax always wants true love to win, and because he has this tragic life and relationship with love, he wouldn't really appreciate a book like this because it would just make him feel even sadder about his situation. So, yeah, those were all the books that I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the concept of this video, and that I always like to bring books to you in kind of a fun way. And if you have other books that you want to see for this, or if you have other recommendations for those books that I showed you for like their 5 stars and whatever, I hope you understand me. But anyways, let me know them. Tell them to me in the comments, and I'll read through them. I love to get comments by everybody who's watching, and hopefully you enjoyed. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to not miss my stupid videos. Until then, bye bye.